Hello and welcome back to For Book's Sake. I am Heather Roberts.
And I am Veronica Adams, and we are 1852 Media.
Yes, and we have heard you loud and clear. At least your listening ears
Yes.
have been speaking for you. You want more legal breakdowns. You want us to talk about legal stuff. And
Yep.
we're here for it. We're fine with that.
Absolutely.
We're going to do it. So, I
Nothing I
mean,
love more than giving my unsolicited opinion about something I may or may not have competent knowledge on, right? Like,
exactly. Like I am here for
yeah,
this.
I went to law school. Sure, I'll give it a whirl.
Yeah. This one, though, we were actually present and accounted for
Front row
during
seats to this one, baby.
front row seats. We lived it.
Yep.
We have had to go back and, refresh our recollections, as
Yes.
it were.
It's been 6 years.
It's been 6 years. And what are we talking about today? This is part one of Cockygate.
That's right.
Yes, we are going there. For those who've recently entered the industry, you probably have no idea what the fuck I'm talking about. But
Lucky
oh boy,
you.
howdy. Yeah, lucky you. Back in 2018, something called Cockygate happened.
Picture
And
it. Romance Landia.
yeah,
2018.
yeah, swing to a vision of small
Yes,
town romance
that's
book.
right. That's right.
Um, okay, so we were in the land of, everybody's publishing. Publishing was just independently publishing was getting started to become saturated, but still
Yeah.
not as saturated as today, for sure.
Yes.
Back when indie books could still make the USA Today, New York Times bestsellers list
Absolutely.
without
Yep.
a distribution
Hmm.
agreement in
Yep.
play. And everybody was publishing a
Yeah.
lot, like all the
Yeah. So
time.
many things we didn't know yet.
Yeah, so many things. And the costs to publish were not as high
True.
as they are today. So
True.
the cost of entry was lower, and people were putting out quality books. And what a
Yeah.
time to be alive.
Yes.
Um, so back in 2018, we're gonna bring you back to Cockygate. So Felina Hopkins is the
Yes.
name of the author who started Cockygate.
You may see
And
her now branded as just Felina. I believe that
yes,
her brand has dropped the Hopkins for the most part, maybe entirely at this point,
okay, okay,
for reasons that will
um,
become clear when this series is over.
yes. And so this is part one. Today we are just going to talk about the background and how we got to the lawsuit.
Yeah, this is a complicated and lengthy discussion, so we figured we'd break it into two bites because
Yeah.
we're not going to ask you guys to sit still for an hour and a half, 2 hours while we go over all of it.
Yeah, we did it once with the 2 hour breakdown, and well, maybe we'll do it again. We're going to break this into slightly more digestible
Absolutely.
pieces for
Yeah.
you. So let's start at the beginning. So the word cocky was attempted to be trademarked. Okay.
Yes.
Not just, I mean, Felina did successfully trademark the
Yes.
word
Yes.
cocky.
She filed an application with the USPTO and was awarded a registration for the mark and
Yes.
all of that.
She
She
actually
was successful.
she had two trademarks. So
Yes.
she had the trademark of the word cocky in all romance series,
Hmm.
you know, period, full stop. And then she also had a cocky series. She had cocky trademarked in a particular font as a word mark
Right.
um, as well on the cover of books. However, there's an issue. There's a separate issue with that one. I don't know if we ever really get to that in the lawsuit. We'll see. I don't remember. But I recall there being an issue where the actual creator of that font basically was like, hey, you can't trademark this font because you don't own it. I
Right.
own it, and you're not allowed to trademark that. That's
You have a
against
license
my,
to use it on your covers
yeah,
and in your marketing material and as part of the visual branding of your work, but
you
the
cannot
actual font
trademark
itself
that.
is mine. Right.
So that was the issue with one of the trademarks, but that's not even the one that we're talking about. The one that
Yes.
we're talking about is the one where it's the word cocky in a romance series, full stop.
Right.
And so She filed that trademark in 2017.
Correct.
And she was issued that trademark in May of 2018.
Also correct.
So that's where we're at. Let's go back a little bit though.
Yes. Yes.
So,
So much history here that leads
so
up
much
to the point where
history.
she files this application, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So she first published a book with the word cocky in the title. Okay. We have to separate this. Titles, I just want to be clear from the beginning. Titles cannot be trademarked.
Yes. As of the recording of this episode, the law is clear.
Yes, that titles cannot be trademarked.
Right.
Also, since we're still at the beginning of this episode and we did not do it before, just throwing that out there that
Oh my
Veronica
God.
and I,
What were we thinking?
what were we thinking? Veronica and I are attorneys. We are not your attorneys. Go find your own attorney. None of this
Yes.
is legal advice. This is
This is
for
all
entertainment.
editorialization. There's
Yes,
not a single kernel of legal advice in this episode or the one that follows for that matter.
correct. So that is always the case
Yes.
with us, but
Thanks
just
for saving our bacon.
no problem. Okay, back into it. So Hopkins publishes a book called Cocky Roomie, a
Yes.
bad boy romance novel, The Cocker Brothers of Georgia, Volume
Yes.
1. Okay, that is the full government name title. Okay.
Yes. Cocky Roomie. And then the series is The Cocker Brothers of Georgia. And that's
yes,
it. I
and
mean,
that's it. That was published on June 15th, 2016.
correct.
And then after that, she published a whole bunch of books that contain, that had cocky in the title.
Yes. She went on to be very prolific in that particular series.
Cocky cowboy, cocky biker, cocky
Yes.
senator, et cetera, et cetera.
Cocks everywhere.
Cocks everywhere. Now you might be thinking, wow, that's really interesting. I haven't seen a lot of books with the word cocky in the title. Well, that's because you didn't live in 2016 in Romancelandia, because
maybe you're not familiar with Penelope and Vi either. Like, whoa.
Right. You could not swing a dick without hitting a cocky book.
The jokes are free, guys.
They are free, just for you. But you really couldn't. I mean, they were everywhere. It started with the biggest one. It didn't start with them, but the biggest book was V. Keelan and Penelope Ward wrote
Cocky Bastard
together, Cocky Bastard.
Yeah.
And then that hit the New York Times bestsellers list. And after that, every book had bastard or cocky in the title.
That book predates Felina's first attempt at a cocky titled book by like a year, I think.
Yeah. I think
not that other authors weren't using the word cocky in their titles or their subtitles or their series titles for years prior to all of this happening. I mean,
sure, they are not necessarily the progeny of it, but there were two that. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say one of the earliest really super commercially successful cocky titled books was Cocky Bastard, which is, again, a year older than Felina's Cocky Roomie.
On the same date, so on August 15th, 2015 is when that was released. On the same date, Lane Hart released the first of a 9-book romance series named Cocky Cage Fighter. And that was a series.
Yeah.
So Cocky Bastard was a standalone novel that was the title. There was no series. Right. It was standalone. Back when authors could do that and hit the New York Times bestseller list. Now you need a standalone series that could, interconnected standalones.
Yeah.
But Cocky Cage Fighter was an actual series name that had the word cocky in it.
Yeah.
Also released on August 15th, 2015.
Yeah.
So all of these predate Felina's first publication of a cocky book by almost a year.
Yes.
Then there's a ton more that were released prior to there's just so many. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, 10, 15, 20 titles cited in the legal pleadings that were filed in the lawsuit we'll eventually get to.
Yeah.
Just examples upon examples upon examples of authors successfully using the word cocky in their titles years before Felina's application for her trademarks.
Correct. And years before it became super popular to do so.
Right.
The popularity, like we said, mostly came from Cocky Bastard. Then suddenly everybody had, Cocky in their title.
Right.
And Felina just decided that she wanted to own it. I mean, there's no other words. I mean, she decided she wanted to own the name Cocky.
Pretty much.
She was only using it in her titles, though. She never used it in her series name.
Yes.
But so she
until after she got her applications approved.
Correct.
Yeah.
So she filed in September 2017 through her company. Her company was called Hop Hop Productions Inc.,
which is cute, by the way.
Which is very adorable. And she filed that to register the word Cocky in connection with a series of downloadable ebooks in the field of romance and a series of books in the field of romance. So just as a reminder, when you're filing a trademark, you have to file it in a specific category.
Right.
You're not just, saying I own the trademark for, the word cocky in all things in all the world. Right. No, you have to file it in a specific category. So that's the category that she was filing it in, which was a series of downloadable ebooks in the field of romance and a series of books in the field of romance. Yeah. The more categories you file in, the more expensive your trademark gets.
Of course.
So, as it were. She claimed that she had a purported first use of June 16th, 2016 for her first use of the word cocky.
Okay. So roughly the publication date of that Cocky Rumi book.
Yes. Notably, again, it was just within the title of her book. Okay. Yeah. And then she filed it for use in commerce, right? June 15th, 2017. So it was a stylized use of the word cocky for use in commerce. And they note again here that she may have filed that one in violation of its license agreement with Set Sail Studios, which is the entity that developed the font shown in that mark. So they do, I guess, talk about that a little bit in this lawsuit, and we'll get to that. We're excited to do that.
Was she doing this? Like, was she DIYing? Was this like legal self-help on her part, or did she pay an attorney to do this? Because what IP attorney doesn't stop at the font and go, do you own that, or is it just licensed?
Like, she paid an attorney to do it. Jonathan Pollock was Hop Hop Production Inc.'s attorney, and he declared, yeah.
Alrighty then.
He did that.
I'm not going to step in it because I never practiced IP when, I was still litigating.
But if you do practice IP, don't you think that would be one of like the things you ask or think of?
Like I've sort of picked that up by osmosis, doing this work for the last, long time. A license is not ownership. There's a lot of stuff you got to be careful with when that's all you've got. And I don't know how that's not a red flag for an IP attorney, but, maybe somebody will weigh in the comments and educate us on that point.
I don't know. Yeah, I feel like
or maybe it was a mistake and some bad lawyering.
I think perhaps the latter. maybe because I just feel like you have to think about that. Like if someone were to come to you for asking for ownership of something, you have to make sure they own the thing.
For real.
Right? So how did the lawsuit start? What happened?
Someone got a little cocky, I think is the only way to describe what happened here.
Yeah. So she gets the trademark, right?
Yes.
And then, so Australian indie authors T.L. Smith and Melissa Jane had sold Audible. We all know who Audible is.
Yes.
The audio rights for their collaboration entitled Cocky Fiancé.
Yes.
Everything was going well. And then Audible emailed them to say that it received a notice that they were infringing on someone else's trademark. This was like right after I think this was in June of 2018, right after
about halfway
she got
through.
The trademark.
Yeah, she gets her registrations back and she's like, okay, now it's time to start ceasing and desisting everyone I can think of who's using this word.
So 2 days
Belongs to me now.
after, yeah, 2 days after they get Audible's email,
Uh-huh.
they get an email from Hopkins herself. This is not through Hopkins legal counsel. This is from
Not through the
Hopkins herself.
LLC or her corporation. Like, it's just her
Yeah.
personally out here swinging for the fences.
Yes. Her first email briefly explained that she had the trademark on the word cocky
Yeah.
and told them to, take down their title before she takes further action. And
Right.
then about 30 minutes later, they get another email from her saying that she had already sent the infringement notice to Amazon. So there was like no time to act, whatsoever.
Like, you
Um,
need to do this. Oh wait, it's too late. I already jumped the gun and have set in motion the process by which it will be done, whether you agree or not.
yeah. So they decided to just retitle their book, right?
Yeah.
They were like,
Yeah.
we're not dealing with this. They
I
titled their book.
mean, can you blame them? Like,
No,
what a pain in the ass this
yeah.
is.
They decided to list it on Amazon. Free shout out. It's called Arrogant Fiance. Go check it
Yeah.
out. So that was fine. They, it was a pain in the ass though. Like, cause the, the thing that I'm reading that is helping me with some of this information because I don't remember it all.
Right.
They remind us that they had to change the interior text of the novel, upload a new file, commission a redesigned cover.
Yeah.
And while they were working on doing that, Amazon alerted their paperback distributor about the infringement claim. So then they had to prove that they're owners of the work, prove their identities,
Right.
and, a
Because Ingram
whole
or
thing.
whoever is actually distributing the paperbacks for them is gonna take it down and perhaps
Yeah.
even disable their account for infringement and stuff. Like, yeah.
They also had to change all their swags that they already had, all of the paperbacks that they made for book
This is
signings
the
already
shit you don't
printed.
think about, right? Like,
Yeah, like
you
it's
just think it's a little title dispute, but like, these women were getting ready for launch. Like, they had all their ducks in a row because you title the
right,
book 9 times out of 10, 99 times out of 100 before you release it. So like, everything's set in stone before it's supposed to be available, including this shit, the
right,
swag, that all the stuff on their websites. Like, I mean, come on now.
right.
So involved,
Absolutely crazy.
so much extra work to, I don't know, maybe it would have been better if they'd fought it. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, but they were in Australia. They didn't feel like dealing
sure,
with this. I mean, I
sure.
get it. I get it.
Well, and it's
So,
expensive,
yeah.
super expensive.
So they're not the only ones that got takedown notices. Okay.
No, they are not.
Tara Crescent, she had a bunch of books, her
Yeah,
cocky doctors, her cocky firefighters, etc., and
right.
so forth. She also received a letter from Amazon suspending her sales. She did not get a letter from Hopkins, just from Amazon.
Yeah,
Um, Her books then got reinstated. And then Jamila Jasper, this is my favorite. She's the author of Cocky Cowboy.
yeah.
She received a similar takedown notice from Amazon. She changed her title to The Cockiest Cowboy to Have Ever Cocked. Jamila, you are my people. Yeah, she just basically said, go fuck
Why don't
yourself.
I have a prop crown to hold up and be like, you know what? Somebody dropped this. Like,
I know. Like, shout
girl,
out to Jamila. Like that,
for
you are
real.
my people. You are my people. So then Felina, this starts taking Romance Landia by storm.
Yes.
Okay.
By this point, Romance Landia is on fire over this.
On fucking fire.
Yes. Everybody has an opinion about Cockygate, and it becomes hashtag Cockygate because
Yes.
it's taking on a life of its own. It's sort of snowballing in avalanche style as it's rolling downhill, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and everybody's up in arms about it. And then the anthology happens, I do believe.
Well, yeah, but you had to. So we should pull for next episode. I'll go
Yeah.
pull some tweets. So Felina
Oh
was
my god,
very,
yes.
very prolific on Twitter.
Yeah.
Ex
Super
formerly
active.
known as.
Yeah.
She was saying, I receive letters from readers who lost money thinking they bought my series. I'm protecting them, and that's what trademarks are meant for. She also said she wasn't targeting books published before she published the first volume of her series in 2016.
So
So,
nobody who had published something cocky prior to her cocky roommate got a takedown notice from Amazon? or any sort of
Right.
infringement, cease and desist from her or her team.
Correct. That's what she says.
Fascinating.
So,
That's a
so
little
then,
tidbit that did not register in my brain from the past.
yeah. I forgot about that too, but that is
Yeah.
what she said.
Okay.
So two things happen then.
Yes.
So then there's an indie author named Kevin Nupper. I think that's how you say
Yes.
his last name.
God bless Kevin.
God bless Kevin. Kevin is also an attorney.
Yes, he is.
And he decided to challenge her U.S. trademark.
Yes.
He filed an actual challenge to the trademark through the Patent and Trademark Office through their
Yes.
process. Because she did not use the term cocky in a series prior to having the trademark. And when you
Right.
are filing a trademark, you have to say first use, right? And we
Right.
talked about when she said she had first use, but
She
she had,
claimed it was that first book she published in 2016, but
yes,
it was just the title, not the series, and the whole mark is based
correct.
on it having been the series.
Correct. And
Yeah.
so Kevin's like, whoa, I think that this slipped through the cracks. I'm filing an actual, he began a
Yeah.
petition
Mhm.
and he filed an actual,
A challenge.
a
Yeah.
challenge. Thank you. My
This
brain
doesn't
decided
mean
to
what she
not
thinks
brain.
it means. She's confused about her usage
Right.
here. It's only in her title. She didn't
Yeah.
start using it in her series titles until after she got the approval for the trademarks.
Correct.
Yeah.
So then, because everything has been so, insane, right?
Somebody's going to capitalize on it.
Yes.
And also take a stand. I mean, it's not just a money-making thing, obviously.
It
In
was
fact, I
it
think
was a
maybe it was a
charitable thing.
charity, right, that it was
Yes.
a charity setup here. But also, like,
Yeah.
where'd the money go? What'd it go to? We'll get
There
into it.
actually was a breakdown of that.
Yeah, I
So,
know.
yeah, it was
I know. But
valid.
it
But
was used to challenge what was happening, of course.
yes. So, there was a collection of stories
Yes.
published under an anthology called Cocktails, the
Yes.
Cocky Collective.
That's right.
Okay. And this was a group of authors that came together,
Mhm.
wrote short stories in order to essentially publish this anthology and just,
It's
raise
middle finger to
money.
Felina is what it is.
Yeah. It
It's a
was,
fuck you, Felina.
yeah,
You can't do this, and we're all going to stand up against you trying to do it.
correct. And major fuck you to Felina. And also, it was an attempt to raise money for the legal fees that they knew that they
Yes.
were going to have to fight. Okay.
Yes.
So that was what the anthology was used for. And they did use that for legal fees. I believe that it was all
Mhm.
ended up being donated to the RWA specifically for legal fees for
Right.
this situation.
Yes, because they eventually get involved in this too. One of the
Right.
few things in recent memory they've done well.
Yeah. Yes. Shout out to RWA for doing something good.
Showing
Okay.
up and being on the right side of history for a change.
So that's what happened. And then because of this anthology,
Uh-huh.
that is when Felina filed this lawsuit. So she
Yes.
filed the lawsuit against three people:
Kevin.
Kevin, Tara Crescent,
Yes.
and Jennifer Watson.
Yes.
So just Jennifer Watson ends up getting dismissed from this lawsuit for rightly so. Okay.
Yes. She's only tangentially related to cocktails at best.
Yeah. She was the publicist. She was doing the promotion and marketing for cocktails. She was doing it for free.
Yeah.
Penny
One of
Reed,
her
who
clients
was,
was involved in the
yes,
anthology, maybe in organizing it or something, and had asked her to
Penny,
help out, and she
yeah,
agreed. Yeah.
Penny Reed of Smarty Pants Romance was publishing the
Yes.
anthology and asked her to help with the promotion and marketing. Felina, for some reason, thinks that Jennifer Watson is the publisher. And so that's why she included her into this.
SHER is not CIST.
Correct. So anyway, Jennifer Watson does get dismissed from this lawsuit later, rightly so, because she
Yeah.
has nothing to do with any of this. But obviously getting sued is like as a publicist, you'd be like, what the actual fuck?
I would shit my pants. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
There's
I'm
no
like,
polite way to put it. Like, this was
you're
not
just
my idea. Like, I'm not responsible for this intellectual property, you know?
right. And as they say that, Miss Watson was not the orchestrator. She, in fact,
Right.
had nothing to do with the conception, creation, authorship, decision to publish, or publication
There
of
you
this
have it.
anthology. So yeah, no involvement.
She's just doing some charity work. Like, she showed up and
Literally.
volunteered to help out, and now she's named in
Yeah.
a federal lawsuit.
Yeah.
No good deed, man.
Exactly. So Felina is asking in this lawsuit that there's a temporary restraining order on the publication of Cockygate, of
Right.
the book. I'm sorry, Cocktails of the
Yes.
anthology. She's trying
We
to
needed a
block
temporary restraining
publication.
order for Cockygate too. Let's be
We
honest.
sure did. Oh my God.
But yes, she is suing to, among other things, stop or at least to temporarily pause the publication of Cocktails until all of these claims can be sorted out.
Correct.
Yeah.
So it's my understanding, and I'll correct myself next time if I'm wrong, but it's my understanding that the Authors Guild hired an attorney on behalf of Tara Crescent to
I believe you're
represent Tara
correct.
Crescent.
Yes.
Tara was a member of the
Yes.
Authors Guild, and they don't generally get involved with litigation, but they felt that it was important for this particular thing. So
Yes.
they decided to hire outside counsel to represent Tara Crescent. And then I believe RWA ended up hiring outside counsel on behalf of Kevin and Jennifer.
Yeah.
And so essentially, people started referring to this as like the Authors Guild and RWA lawsuit.
Correct.
Even though they weren't sued.
Yes.
So I just wanted to clarify that.
Which is very important. She's doing that because as we were prepping for this episode, I was actually confused about that because I was like, wait a minute. Was there a second lawsuit? No, it's just that the public discussion got renamed from Felina's lawsuit to the Authors Guild RWA lawsuit somehow. So
right. But it was not. It was Hop Hop Productions and Felina Hopkins. She sued from her company and individually. Versus Kevin, Tara, and Jennifer individually.
Right.
So that's what happened there. And now we are up to the time of the lawsuit. Yeah. And whether she was able to block the publication of Cocktails, the Cocky Collective.
Right.
Which was to be published, I think, on May 26th. That can't be right. I'm going to have to get the timeline better. May 26th of 2018. That might be true. Yeah.
I don't recall specifically. And I don't know that I saw it in my show prep either.
I'll double check on the publication.
It all happened so fast. Like,
it did.
The registration came back from the USPTO, and Felina gets what she thinks is permission to be cocky about what she owns, and she starts ceasing and sending out these cease and desist letters and filing these trademark takedown infringement notifications with Amazon and Audible and all these other retailers. And she's like, she's really putting the screws to people who have come after her in the use of cocky.
Oh yeah.
Right. While herself also not, completely shoring up her claim to use it, especially since her covers did not immediately get changed in any way, shape, or form to represent that, like, cocky was now her mark,
it was published May 26, 2018, Cocktails.
Okay.
Cocky Collective.
So it was like bing, bang, boom. We're talking about like a 6-week window here, right? Between the registrations coming back and this anthology getting published and then the lawsuit being filed, and like it was so fast.
Yeah. It was crazy. And they had put, even in the description, as you can still see in the description on Amazon, all net profits will be donated to 1, authors already impacted by creative obstruction, 10%. 2, Romance Writers of America, 90%, as a general donation intended for their advocacy fund.
There you go.
This anthology is not conducted on behalf of RWA, nor does RWA endorse this anthology or effort. They have, however, graciously agreed to accept the funds. And so, yes, it was the goal of Cocktails Anthology is to raise funds to fight against obstruction of creative expression. So that was specifically because they didn't know how much money they were going to make, and they didn't know how much money they were going to need to use for the defense. So they made it very general. But the understanding was that we knew that the proceeds were going to go fighting against Cockygate, and then anything else would legally be allowed to use in the future to protect creative expression.
Yeah.
So I thought that was very smart with how they did that. But yes, that was May 26th was 2018 was the scheduled release date of Cocktails. Authors came together. I mean, one thing about Romancelandia is that authors can come together so freaking quickly to, put out this stuff.
Yeah.
I remember, we did free promotion of that too. We included it in all of our newsletters. We put it out to everybody. Like literally everybody who had a list was sending it out to everybody.
Yeah. Yeah. It was like, it was like sort of a beautiful moment of everyone coming together to be like, wait a minute, this isn't right.
Yeah.
The rising tide and all of that. I mean,
it was literally Felina Hopkins versus Romancelandia.
Felina versus the world, baby.
It was. I mean, there was no one that I recall being like, oh, but she has a point. No.
Yeah.
Everybody was like, no, you stepped over the line.
Yeah.
People couldn't even believe that it was real at first.
Right. Well, it's as we will get into next episode, such a stretch legally.
Right.
It seemed outrageous that someone would die on the hill of something this insubstantial. Right.
Right. Yeah. And
this far afield of what everyone knows is settled law, at least when it comes to trademarking individual words.
Right.
Yeah.
And the far-reaching effects that her action would have on an entire community.
Right.
I mean, it was just insane.
Right.
So, now you are caught up to the lawsuit.
Yes.
And maybe next Friday, you're going to be away. Are you still going to be able to record?
Oh yeah, absolutely. We'll set aside some time next week to go ahead and finish this one because
this will be good.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll dive into the legal documents and tell you the legal theories on both sides, and the insanity of what happened next. So I hope we've whet your appetite for Cockygate.
Yes.
It really was a wild time in the romance
my God.
industry.
And what a walk down memory lane it's been, like revisiting it. If you're listening and you recall it yourself, it's just, how can you not just shake your head and go, what was she thinking?
I mean, just absolutely crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's so many. I'm thinking of the memes. There was so many memes. There were so many. I'm going to have to try to pull some of them up because everybody was literally, I can't believe anything got done. Everybody was talking about it.
I know.
For weeks.
Yeah.
For weeks. So.
Summer 2018. It was all about it.
All about it. Cockygate. So, and then I recall other people trying to trademark other things like right after it.
Yes, there was a whole spate of like copycat cocky stuff. Like,
yeah,
if Felina can do this, then I'm gonna go, trademark whatever. Yeah. Second chance.
Right. And those got slapped down pretty quickly. Yeah. Oh my God. Absolutely nuts. So tune in next time for Cockygate Part 2.
Yes, absolutely.
We're going to dive into the actual legal documents and tell you what happened in the court case and go from there and what actually happened afterwards.
Yes.
Because this does take a random turn then.
It really does. Yeah. If you are unfamiliar, if you didn't live it the first time, you will appreciate the twist.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely wild. So until next time, this has been For Book's Sake.